Welcome back, y'all, to a new episode of REV'IT TV. Today, we're leaving Berlin behind for an all-new adventure and taking this beautiful blacked-out Yamaha MT-09 for a tour around Western Germany. One of the things that I want this channel to become is a place where we can explore different motorcycles and some of the best roads Germany has to offer. Our destination today is North Rhine-Westphalia, or NRW as we say in Deutschland. We'll make our way towards Wuppertal, home to the famous suspended monorail, the Schwebebahn, which has been carrying passengers above the streets for well over a century. From there, we'll continue to the beautiful Steinbachtalsperre, where we'll stop for a short break and maybe test the MT-09's off-road capabilities. After that, we'll blast to the city of Cologne, before heading into the Northern Eifel region, where some of Germany's best riding roads should be waiting for us hopefully. Enjoy today's video here on REV'IT TV. This entire ride is being filmed with my Insta360 X2 camera, which I know is getting a little bit old by today's standards. But thankfully the weather is on our side. With plenty of sunshine, the X2 can still produce some surprisingly beautiful footage, I find. Before we get going, here's the gear that I'll be riding in today. On my head is the Ducati Strada Tour 5 helmet, made by Arai and carrying one of the highest safety ratings available. On my torso is my REV'IT Hyperspeed Air 2 jacket, an incredibly well ventilated leather jacket with a AAA safety rating. For my hands, I'm wearing the REV'IT Cayenne 2 gloves, because no matter how good the weather looks, comfort for me starts with feeling safe and secure on the road. And on my legs, we have the Dainese Chino riding pants, along with the CD Adventure 2 mid Gore-Tex boots. After a full day of riding, they saved my right leg from extreme heat coming from the exhaust pipes. Yamaha's MT-09 first changed the game back in 2013 with a 847cc engine. But the bike that we're riding today is a whole different beast. At its dark heart is the updated CP3 triple engine, now with 890ccs and around 120 horsepower, delivering a character somewhere between the rush of an inline-4 and the low-end punch of a V-twin. Our first destination is Wuppertal, and from there we'll continue deeper into NRW in search of roads that make this region such a pleasure to ride. By the end of this ride, we'll cover around 300 kilometers, taking in some incredible scenery while finding out whether the MT-09 lives up to its reputation as one of the best middleweight naked bikes on the market today. By the time you're watching this, if all the rumors are true, the Insta360 X6 should finally be here. The DJI Osmo 362 is expected to arrive this year as well. For me, what's important are replaceable lenses and keeping my editing workflow streamlined best as possible. Located in the Bergisches Land region of NRW, Wuppertal is home to around 360,000 people and probably best known for the Schwebebahn, a suspended monorail that's been carrying passengers above the Wupper River since 1901. It's one of the world's oldest electric suspended railways still in operation, and somehow, more than a century later, it still looks like something from the future. With the Schwebebahn quietly floating along beside us and the CP3 pulling through its gears, Wuppertal turned out to be a pretty enjoyable place to begin today's ride adventure. If you've never seen it before, it's an odd sight. A train hanging from the track instead of sitting on top of it. Down here on the road, however, Yamaha fits a fully adjustable 41mm KYB upside down fork, while the rear uses a preload and rear-down adjustable KYB shock. It's tuned with everyday riding in mind, soaking up patched asphalt, manhole covers, and the occasional pothole without upsetting the lightweight aluminum Delta box frame. With its 825mm seat height, it's also an approachable motorcycle that inspires confidence when weaving through city traffic or stopping in busy intersections. And then we gotta talk about Yamaha's third generation quickshifter. Normally, city riding means endless clutch work and constant gear changes, but the MT-09's quickshifter is so slick that I find myself using it almost all the time, actually more so than my Hypermotard. It turns what would normally be stop and go riding into something surprisingly fluid. Before we get too far into today's ride, I should probably explain why I rented this motorcycle in the first place. Back in 2024 when I was shopping for a motorcycle, the Yamaha MT-09 SP was right at the top of my short list, along with the KTM SMR and the Aprilia Dosadoro 900. I originally wanted to rent the MT-09 SP version since that's the one most compared to my Hypermotard SP. I stopped by Yamaha Rhineland and NRW to see what they had available, but the standard MT-09 was the only bike free for the weekend. Honestly, I was perfectly happy with that. The standard model is the bike most riders will actually buy, similar to the base Hypermotard V2 and 950, so in many ways it's the more relevant motorcycle to try out today. As we leave Wuppertal behind us, Google Maps sends us down a questionable path. The pavement slowly disappears. The road gets narrower. The trees begin to close in around us. And before I know it, I'm running downhill what feels more like a forestry access track. A light ADV would be right at home here. Even though the MT-09 is by no means an adventure bike, the combination of Yamaha's lightweight frame and KYB suspension keeps everything feeling remarkably composed. The handlebars stay calm, the chassis never feels unsettled, and despite the loose surface, there's always a reassuring feeling from the front end that tells you exactly where the tire is going. As we leave the main road behind us, Google Maps is constantly telling me to keep on going in this direction. But I'm not entirely convinced this is actually a road. The path is partially covered in leaves and debris. It's the kind of situation where you can start second guessing every corner and wonder if turning around would have been the smarter decision. The MT-09 never really gave me that feeling. The low speed handling is generally very impressive. Even on these downhill bends, almost coming to a complete stop before turning in, the bike never felt heavy or awkward. The steering stays light, the chassis stays composed, and it stayed planted and not too squirrely. It was fairly easy to control. Every corner made the Steinbachtalsperre Dam seem a little bit bigger until it finally dominates the valley ahead. I think that's one of the biggest surprises so far. For a motorcycle with 119 horsepower, it's incredibly friendly. The Bridgestone Battle Axe tires deserve some credit as well. They're obviously designed with sporty riding in mind, but even here on dusty pavement and the occasional patch of loose gravel, they communicate very well. The standard MT-09 uses twin floating discs with radial-mounted 4-piston calipers, operated by a Brembo radial master cylinder and paired with a 245mm rear disc. On paper, these numbers may not reveal much, but out here they're working very well. Initial bite is smoother rather than aggressive. There's plenty of feel through the lever, and on a downhill road like this where grip changes from corner to corner, that progressive braking is something I came to appreciate. Combined with the predictable throttle response from the CP3 engine, the balanced chassis and those Bridgestone tires, the MT-09 has this wonderful habit of quietly disappearing underneath you. Let's take a quick pause to stretch my legs and collect my thoughts. The MT-09 has been handling great so far, and we made it here safely and can take a moment to check out the scenery around us. Nestled on the edge of the Northern Eifel, the Steinbachtalsperre has become a popular destination for hikers and cyclists looking to escape the city for a few hours. Originally completed in the early 1930s, the Steinbachtalsperre Dam was built to supply drinking water and help regulate the waterways of the surrounding region. More recently, it became national news after the catastrophic floods of 2021 that severely damaged its structure, forcing the reservoir to be partially drained while engineers carried out extensive repairs. After this short break, we head back out of this area and go towards Cologne. Going uphill on this off-road path is more fun than going downhill. The sound of the CP3 engine sounds really nice, even with the stock pipe. One thing that I sort of appreciate about the MT-09 is how confidence-inspiring it feels when the road isn't perfect. And that's something that I realized more and more throughout my riding experience. Confidence isn't always about going faster. Sometimes it's simply about not having to think so much. When a motorcycle disappears beneath you and lets you focus on the road, the scenery, and the ride itself, that's usually a sign that the engineers got it right. One thing that really stood out to me throughout the journey was how natural it felt to ride the MT-09 quickly. Part of that comes down to the fuel tank. The tank gives you something substantial to grip with your knees, which helps anchor your body under braking and through fast corners. It could sound like a small detail, but it makes a big difference in rider confidence. Coming from my Hypermotard SP, that was one of the first things that I noticed. My Hypermotard has a narrower seat and tank area. If you spent any time riding dirt bikes or supermotos, this can feel natural. If you haven't, the Hypermotard can actually feel a little strange at first, sitting so high up on the bike. The MT-09, on the other hand, feels instantly familiar. The relationship between the seat, foot pegs, handlebars, and fuel tank is exactly what most riders expect from a modern naked bike. The riding position is more traditional. Within just a few kilometers, I was feeling completely at home. I could brace myself against the tank very comfortably, and I found it easier to ride the Yamaha quickly, and inspired confidence right away. The Rhine River has shaped the city's history for centuries, turning Cologne into Germany's most important trading center long before motorized two-wheelers ever rolled through the streets. Just a short while ago, we were winding our way through quiet forests and narrow country roads. Now we're surrounded by trams, cyclists, pedestrians, and even more traffic lights. Welcome to Cologne. With more than 1 million people calling it home, Cologne is Germany's fourth largest city. Berlin is still number one, Ichiban, and one of Germany's oldest, founded by the Romans nearly 2,000 years ago. The upright riding position gives a commanding view over traffic. The wide handlebars make it easy to thread through tight spaces. And despite weighing 193 kilograms fully fueled, it never felt heavy, crawling along with the traffic. This is where the MT-09 reveals another side of its personality. Out on country roads, it feels very playful. Here in the city, it's surprisingly civilized. I think that's one of the biggest reasons the Yamaha appeals to such a wide audience. And over the years, it's become one of Yamaha's best-selling motorcycles, earning the 10th place in the top-selling motorcycles in Germany for the first half of this year, 2026. One thing that I've been thinking about lately is just how motorcycle technology has been changing. Cars have largely moved away from manual gearboxes altogether, but motorcycles have managed to keep that direct mechanical connection between rider and machine. Now, because it's a modern bike, all that power is wrapped in a digital safety diaper. Yamaha's 6-axis IMU is constantly watching in the background, ready to catch any mistakes before things get out of hand. But let's be real, no amount of traction control is going to save you if you overcook a corner into the Eifel Hills. The digital nanny can only do so much. The rest is up to our right wrist and monkey brains to keep things level and together. But we're still choosing the gears ourselves. And that's what's part of what makes riding so enjoyable for me. The MT-09 comes fitted with Yamaha's 3rd generation bi-directional quickshifter as standard, allowing a clutchless upshift and downshift once you're moving. Unlike my Hypermotard, where a quickshifter is not included on the standard version, Yamaha gives you one straight from the factory. After spending a few hours on the bike, I really started to appreciate it. With Cologne behind us, it was finally time for the part of the ride that I've been looking forward to all day, the Northern Eifel region. If you've never ridden here before, it's one of Germany's best motorcycling regions. It was the perfect environment to really understand what the MT-09 is all about. The bike is incredibly flickable. Changing directions takes almost no effort at all. The combination of its lightweight chassis, wide handlebars, and balanced suspension makes carving through corner after corner feel completely natural. The road gets twistier with every kilometer, flowing from one bend into the next. One thing that really surprised me throughout the day was just how planted the MT-09 feels. You started the morning with a full fuel tank, spent the day riding through city streets, country roads, and winding back roads, and at no point did the bike ever feel unsettled. After hundreds of kilometers around NRW, I never once found myself wanting to get off the bike. The CP3 engine is every bit as good as people say it is. It has torque everywhere, loves the rev, and somehow manages to feel both refined and slightly mischievous at the same time. It's an engine with character. These little things definitely impressed me. On the faster stretches of road, as the speed climbed comfortably into the triple digits, The chassis remained composed. The CP3 engine never felt stressed. There was always a sense that the bike still had plenty left in reserve. Compared to my Hypermotard, which feels very playful and full of character from 0 to about 150 kilometers an hour, the MT-09 has a very different personality. It almost feels like Yamaha tuned this motorcycle to become even more composed as the pace increases. Fast but never intimidating. Confident but never nervous. Unfortunately, the day had other plans in mind for us. As I approached the entrance to the route, I was met by several fire engines and emergency vehicles blocking the road. From what I could see, there had been an accident further ahead. I'll admit, after riding all day, finally reaching the Eifel, only to find the road closed, was a bit disappointing. But that's motorcycling. You can spend hours planning the perfect route, and sometimes the road has other ideas in mind. So instead, I pointed the MT-09 back towards Moorskapellen, the same place where this rad venture had started. After the credits roll, I happened to catch up with another rider on a Yamaha XSR900. It has the same motor as the MT-09, just a bit different styling. And we ended up riding for a few kilometers together. It was not planned, and there's no voiceover and no music, just the sound of the engines and the road ahead. So if you gotta go, I really appreciate your time watching today's RadFlex episode 3, and if you do got a few more minutes, enjoy some more rad footage. Until next time, have fun, ride safe, I'll see you on the next rad venture here on RadFlex TV.